All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. I know it's a bit of a sleepy morning this morning, but I really appreciate all of you coming out, being punctual as much as possible. I know the reason why everybody's late is because during the side events, they all went drinking and they can't wake up. I asked my friend, are you coming today? He's like, Ross, I haven't finished drinking at 2 a.m. I was like, oh, yeah, that's probably why. But hopefully they'll be joining us later. If you have any friends who are at home still showering, please tell them to come faster, because today we're going to be talking a lot about DeFi protocols, a lot about DeFi and all the different kind of developments and interesting projects that are in the works. So I think it's going to be really interesting. Yesterday we had a lot about Z.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. So my name is Charles, and I'm a smart contract engineer from Tokenlong. And I know it's pretty early right now. Usually 10 a.m. is the time when I get out of the bed. So it's early for me as well. So anyway, thank you guys for coming. So let's get started. And today I'm going to talk about the intent-based swap and how it's going to be going to reshape the DEX market. So, okay, so the outline today is have a major 3 parts. And first, I'm going to talk about the current DEX pattern of the trading right now. And after that, I'm going to introduce the what is intent, what is the idea of that, and why we talk about this, what problem does it solve, and some of the example of the intent swap. And at the end, I will just talk about how we use that kind of design for to improve our product and to provide new features to the users. Okay, so let's take a quick look of the current situation. So currently we have 2 major patterns of DEX. The first one is the AMM, and for example, like Uniswap, Curve, balancers. These are all based on the so-called constant product formula. Also, some protocol have their specific invariant. So the good thing of that kind of model, the constant product, is it is always tradable for users. So you are always able to trade for a certain pair from the MMM protocol. But the problem or the problem of that kind of design is that the efficiency of the liquidity is not very well. So also from the liquidity provider perspective, there are also like some issue like implement loss or the LVR cost when they are trying to provide liquidity to a pool. So from the user perspective, there are also some experience problem, like when you when you go into swap with the MM protocol, you need to specify the tolerance of the slippage that you're able to that you feel okay with. So that means there are some uncertainty, or the result is unpredictable when you swap with the MM pool. And on the top of that, there are also the MEV issues. So probably some of you may have heard that topic before. So when the user want to make a trade with the MM protocol, these are major two issues that you need to worry about: the slippage and how do you avoid the MEV attack. And the second one is the RFQ, which is request for quote for short. And basically, it is P2P trading. And we can see this diagram for the whole flow of the RFQ trading. So basically, the user want to, for example, trade the ETH with USDC. So he asks for the price of that pair. So the maker responds with the price, for example, like $1,600, and then the user decide to make a trade on that price. So for example, buy 2 ethers using that price. And the maker will respond with the order and the signature of the order. And the order which basically specify which pair will be for the trade, and the amount, also the price of the trade. Also, there will be like expire time for that kind of quote. And then after user receive that order, he can submit the transaction with that kind of order to the blockchain and get confirmed and get settled on the blockchain. So usually you have the maker here. Usually they are just professional market maker to provide quote for the users. So the good thing about such model is that there's no slippage and there's no MEV because the amount and the price are specified in the order. So there's no space for different result or different amount or different price. So the result is very predictable. So you won't have a issue to specify your slippage tolerance. So it sounds like a perfect solution, right? It solved the major two problems of the EMM. But actually, there are some concern from the maker perspective. So the first one is fluctuation versus the order expiry. So like we said, the order will have an expiry field to specify the valid time window or duration of that kind of price or the quote. Okay, so if that kind of a window is too short, it will require the user to submit the transaction and get confirmed the transaction on chain in a very short of time. So that means the user need to sign the transaction and submit to the blockchain. Also, they may need to adjust the gas price accordingly because the congestion and network situation always not predictable. So, but it is good for the maker because about the risk. So if the time window is too long, and it is good for user because they can have their time to decide whether they want to trade or not, and they don't need to set up a very high gas price to be confirmed in time. But the market price can go up and down, right? So it causes the risk for the maker that the price may be out of date. So like we said, the price is fixed in the order. So if the valid time is too long, so the market price change, the price may be good for user but bad for maker. So maker will get expose their risk from that kind of duration window. So it's kind of a trade-off to choose whether to have a short valid window or a long valid window. And the second concern is that how do they manage the quote, how the maker manage their quote. So basically, you have to track the quote that you've already issued out for the users. But it's up to user to whether they are accepting or going to swap the trade, right? So you have to track the status of each quote. And because the maker also need to track their exact amount, whether they are, some of their amount is pending for trade, or some of them are available for new providing quote. Yeah, so on the top of that, there are also another issue that, because we said the market price can go up and down, right? So sometimes there is a specific situation that maker may issue multiple quotes, which is cause conflict. For example, the same pair but with the inverse direction, and because the price change, so user may be able to arbitrage from that maker itself. So you also need they also need to monitor or detect whether they have a conflict quote or not. So from our experience, most of the maker, they are just very familiar with the centralized exchange market making, but they may not be able to have a comprehensive system for transaction management or the quote management. So this will the result is that for the maker, they will have a more conservative quoting strategy also, and ultimately it will affect the price that user can get. And usually these makers are doing the market making on the major pairs. So overall, this model is good for users, but too many uncertainty for the maker. So the RFQ and the AMA actually are complementary to each other. They are not replacing each other at all. Okay, so let's get into today's topic, and let's take a look of what is the idea of intent before we get into the intent-based swap. So so intent is like an idea that instead of let user to submit the transaction by themselves and with the specific code data, and the intent actually focusing on the intention or the purpose of the transaction. So let's take a look at this diagram. So on the left, these are the current flow we have right now. So for example, the user want to sell his Ether with the best price, right? So he probably just open up the browser and access to the aggregator to find the right path for selling his Ether, and then he got the code data from the aggregator, which specify the selling path for the best price, and then he submit the transaction to the blockchain and get confirmed. Also, state get changed accordingly. So these two black square actually relate to each other. You can see the user the original initial intention is achieved by the actual state change, but the problem is that these steps in the middle is kind of sometimes is too complicated, or sometimes need different expertise to find the best path for the trade. So so the intent flow is actually on the right side, and so you can see with the same situation that a user want to sell the Ether with the best price. So instead of open up the browser, accessing to the different DApp, now all he has to do is sign this intention as a, for example, the EIP 712 format. So this is like the off-chain signed message, not the real transaction can be submitted to the blockchain. So after that, the intention is broadcast to the solvers. And these solvers are professional solvers too. Their job is to fulfill that kind of intention or the purpose from the users. So the solvers will, trying to find the so-called solution for that kind of intention. And then after that, one of the solver will, send the transaction with the right solution to fulfill that kind of intent to the blockchain. And so the result is that after the transaction got confirmed and the state also changed on the blockchain, it also relates to the initial intention of the user. But the difference is that now you can see lots of the steps are done by the solver, not the user. The user just signed the message at the very beginning. Okay, so that's the basic idea of the intent. And let's take a look at how a swap is done by the such of a design. So a token swap, you can it can be understood as a desired state change that, for example, you want to swap, you pay some token to get other tokens, right? So basically, you want the balance difference as a specific state change after the swap. Yeah, so the user now trying, if the user want to do a swap, he can, specify the balance difference in the intent order. So also with some other condition like the who is able to trade with that kind of intention or the amount, price, expiry, something like that. Yeah, so basically users specify the what, not the how. So now you can see on the last page, the example, if the user want to sell some tokens, he can specify in this here as his intention. And whatever you price you want to specify, it's up to you. But it will affect how the solver will be able to find the right solution immediately, or you need to wait some time for the market price. Yeah. So the good thing about the intent swap, the actual good thing about the intent swap is, first, the user doesn't need to pay for the gas. So it's zero gas for user. But some of you may argue that, oh, it's not the zero gas, it's actually paid by the solvers eventually. Yeah, that's correct. But technically, it also has some benefit for the solver to submit the transaction instead of users. Basically, it's about the submission efficiency. For example, as you know, user need to choose the right gas price, or they have to find the right like MEV node to submit their transactions. They have to do a lot of things, but we can leave this kind of operation to the professional solvers instead of users struggling to operate these kind of things. And obviously, there are much less steps for the users. As we mentioned, that all he has to do is sign a message instead of accessing the browser, the app, sort of things. And another good thing about this is the composability, which means that the solver with the expertise, they can combine more liquidity source, which result is better price for users. Yeah. So, but yeah, there are also some bad thing about such design. The first is that when you sign a order and send out to the solvers, if you want to cancel that intention, you don't want to trade using that conditions anymore, you have to submit a transaction to the blockchain currently. Yeah, that is because you need to mark that this order is not able to be executed anymore on the blockchain. So that's one of the things that need to be improved right now. And also, this kind of design doesn't support raw asset because, for example, you want to sell the Ether, actually you need to wrap it up as a WETH for the intent swap because the pool payment method is used within the trade. And it is much harder to trace or to simulate the transaction because currently we filter the transaction using the front and to address, right? But right now, if you sign the intent message, you don't know which solver is going to submit the transaction to the blockchain, so you don't know the front and the to address. So it requires a specific tool or website to track your assigned intention. Also, if you have a condition, it's not very strict, so it is hard to get the prediction of the result before the transaction is actually executed. So there are a couple examples of that kind of intent swap. If you remember that we mentioned in the RFQ slide, you can see that actually RFQ is a simple version of the intent, but with the inverse direction. Yeah, the signature is provided by the maker and by user submit the transaction. So it's kind of an inverse direction from what we're talking about right now. Also, if you have heard about the demoder in the DEX, it actually is another version of intent because you need to specify a condition like the price, the amount, and the expiry as well. So other than that, we have, for example, 1-inch fusion mode. They relies on the intent-based design. So when you interact with such the app, you don't need to submit the transaction by yourself. All you need to do is sign the message. And also the call swap, they have a feature like unified clearing price. They also relies on the intention that from the users, and they have a group of solvers to fulfill those intentions. Yeah. Also the OpenSea NFT market, you can specify multiple NFT. You have to trade with multiple NFT at the same time. Yeah. And a couple months ago, the Uniswap just announced their new product called Uniswap X, and this is the diagram of the Uniswap X. So actually, Uniswap is getting step into the aggregator market, not just the MMM liquidity source. So I think you can opt in to use the Uniswap X right now from their website. There's an option you can choose. Yeah, so this meme is basically what we have for the situation right now. So back in days like in the 2021, so the Uniswap and the 1-inch like SushiSwap, they are all doing the transaction-based faction. If you use that these days, you have to submit the transaction yourself. So you have the gas price issue, you have the MEV issues, And those, I think this may be made by, call swap. I don't know. Yeah. So Attendees, the call swap is the only project that, leverage the innovation. Yeah. So nowadays, because the one just announced their fusion mode, and the Uniswap also have their Uniswap X. Everyone just focus on the new intent-based trading. Yeah. So more product can be explored from that kind of intention architecture. So we're talking about the swap, but actually the potential of the intent is not just about the simple one-time swap. So you can specify the condition in the intention, right? So the condition can be, the intent could be actually a way for, realizing more general trading conditions, or a way for, authorizing. So you can have a customized conditions, and the execution can be really flexible, and the result can be optimized. So the example is like you can, delegate your part of your asset to the professional trader, but you can specify the condition. For example, the maximum or the minimum price you are, going to accept it. So it's like, for example, the grid trading, for example. Also, you can achieve the TWAP trading, like the COSWAP did using their system. They can now, support the TWAP trading, which combines multiple trade with a certain duration, not just one-time swap. So finally, how we as Tokenlong we leverage the intent design. Actually, talking about the swap, we have RFQ and limit order now in production. You can use these two features in the Tokenlong right now. Also, we are developing a new for the trading strategy product, which called Best Buy. It allows you to buy the tokens with the right price, with the right time, automatically. Yeah. So as we say, the market price goes up and down. So if you want to buy a large amount of token, so it is essential to know which time to buy, or using a different amount, not just one time large order. So basically, the user interface is something looked like this. You can specify the token for sure, and the trigger price, and the total amount, also the duration here, as these are your conditions and your intentions. So the professional market trader, they are going to monitor the network and trade by your allowance to help you get the better price, the better result. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to share today. So you can use the Tokenlong. We have the website right now. You can definitely make a check if you want to swap the token to get a better price. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Charles. Let's give him a warm round of applause. Okay, we're going to open it for a quick session of Q&A. Does anybody have any questions about token swapping, intent-based tokens? Raise your hand. Oh, yes, of course. 1 second. Switch it on for you. Please introduce your name as well as your question.
Well, thank you for your presentation. I'm Martinet. And yeah, so my question is, right now, these are kind of like the old type of
hold the mic
intent.
a little bit closer and see.
These are kind of like the old type of intents, right? I'm wondering what you see about like the newer intent designs, for example, Anoma and Flashbot. Like these are kind of like on the development.
Oh, okay. So originally, I want to cover the topic about general state change, general intent as well, but the time is not enough. But actually, I'm really very excited about the general intent, the design like Anoma or Flash, the next generation of the Flashbot design. Yeah, so all we covered today is from the application perspective, how a intent application can be done and what's the new functionality, new feature they can provide. But actually, if you think about the whole blockchain, instead of allowing user to submit transaction, actually we can, just the node can accept like the intention from the user, and instead of the transaction, I think it will, change the user experience of the blockchain completely. But I think that's also quite challenging for, user need to figure out, for example, I want to sell some token. It's quite easy, right? To make it as a state change or the balance difference as my intention. But if I have to, do something other than swapping, it's more difficult to, for a normal user to say what is the state change of that kind of operation. It may require some, tools for kind of, translating that kind of intention to the actual state change. Yeah, so personally, I'm really excited about, that kind of idea, but I think it definitely needs some time to, overcome the challenge. Yeah.
Sorry, another follow-up question. So in one of the slides, when you first mentioned intent, you say like, oh, you can get the best price for, around the right time, right? But in my current understanding, like the intent, you have to specify what you are willing to give up, essentially. So my take was that I'm basically exposing my MEV. I'm accepting that MEV is going to happen and let it happen to me. But I make it very clearly. And from that point of view, like, oh, Uniswap itself, like a slippage, is also an intent saying that, hey, I'm willing to accept this, because you can also just set it to 0, right? And so I guess my question is, like, how you have that best price thing, how does that work?
Yeah, you can say the slippage is one of my intention as well. But as a user getting to the DEX, if you ask the user what's your intention for the slippage, they will ask you what's the slippage, why there's a slippage. So they know the trade, they know the swap, the in and out amount, but they don't know about the slippage. So that's the one thing about the user experience. But so you say the what's going to be sacrificed. I think yeah, the product itself actually basically you have some kind of a trust assumption for the professional trader with the trade. So yeah, there's probably not very formal way to prove that this is the best result, but we can ensure that there are some limited of the operation or the trade that the trader can operate within a certain a range, like the amount or the duration, the price. You can set up the price range you are willing to trade. Yeah, so other than the range, it's not going to happen on the chain. So basically, it requires some sort of trust at least. Yeah.
Okay. If you have any further questions, you can always find Charles after this. Let's give him another big round of applause. Thank you very much, Charles.
Thank you.